Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most important, but maybe one of the most overlooked roles in the entire tech world. We're talking about the data engineer. You know, we hear all the time about AI and machine learning and these amazing game-changing analytics, but have you ever just stopped and wondered who actually builds the massive digital superhighways that all of this data runs on? Who's laying the pipes for this data flood? Well, that's exactly where our unsung heroes come in. So over the next few minutes, we're going to break down what a data engineer is, where they fit in, what they actually do day to day, the tools they use, what that career path looks like, and really importantly, how they're different from data scientists and analysts. All right, let's dive in and start with what these folks are all about. Okay, so to kick things off, what is a data engineer? Let's get a really clear definition. At its absolute core, a data engineer is a special kind of software professional. Their whole world, everything they do, is about designing, building, and taking care of the systems that handle data. We're talking from its raw, messy source all the way to a clean, usable state where it's ready for action.
You know, a really great way to think about this role is with an analogy. So, picture this. If data is like water, and it's absolutely essential for every part of a business, then the data engineer is the master plumber. They're not just fixing leaks, they're designing the entire system of pipes, pumps, and water towers to make sure that clean, reliable data gets to exactly who needs it when they need it.
So if they're the plumbers, where exactly do they fit into the bigger neighborhood of a modern data team? Let's take a look at the map. A modern data team is a whole ecosystem of specialists, right? You've got people focused on business reports, others who are deep into predictive modeling, and now you've got engineers building the latest and greatest generative AI apps. It is a very busy place with a ton of different skills.
And this really gets to the heart of it. The data engineer is the bedrock. They are the foundation of the entire team. They're the ones building and maintaining those fundamental platforms, things like data lakes and warehouses, that literally everyone else depends on. To put it simply, without the data engineer, the analyst has no clean data to analyze, and the data scientist has no data to build models with. Period.
Okay, so we know they build the foundation, but what does that actually look like on a Tuesday morning? Let's walk through the core jobs of building what I like to call a data factory.
Yeah, this whole process is kind of like an assembly line for data. It starts by bringing in all the raw materials, and it ends with delivering a polished, high-quality product that the rest of the business can actually use. So let's look at the most important stages.
First up, ingestion. Data lives everywhere these days. In app databases, behind APIs for tools you use, in real-time streams of every click a user makes. The engineer's first job is to build all the pipelines to pull that raw, often chaotic data into one central spot.
Now, once that raw data is in one place, it's usually a mess. It's inconsistent, it's got missing values, it's just not ready to be used. The transformation stage is where the real magic happens. Engineers use code, mostly SQL and Python, to clean, structure, and shape that data, basically turning digital crude oil into high-octane rocket fuel. And of course, this factory can't be run by hand, right? It's got to run 24/7, totally on its own. That's where orchestration and quality come in. Engineers use tools like Airflow to automate all these data pipelines, making sure everything runs in the right order at the right time. And they build in checks all along the way to make sure the final product is accurate and trustworthy. So what kind of tools do you even need to build a factory like this? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the modern data engineer's toolkit. The tech stack for a data engineer is seriously broad and deep. It all starts with core languages like Python and SQL. Then you've got these incredibly powerful engines like Spark for processing just massive amounts of data. And then you have orchestrators like Airflow to manage all the moving pieces. It's this really unique mix of software development, systems architecture, and cloud know-how. And this isn't just a job. It's a real career with a very clear and, frankly, very rewarding path for growth. Let's take a look at how a data engineer's role changes over time.
So you'll probably start out just learning the ropes, right? Building pieces of bigger systems with some help. As you get better, you start to own entire projects yourself. Then at the senior level, you're not just building anymore, you're designing the blueprints and you're mentoring other engineers. And eventually, at the principal level, you're helping set the entire data strategy for the whole company.
So why is this such a great path to be on? Well, job security. Even in a year where there were a lot of layoffs in the tech world, the tech unemployment rate stayed incredibly low. at just 2.2% in late 2023. Why? Because these foundational skills are always in demand. And that demand, it's reflected in the pay. According to some recent salary guides, even junior engineers can start out well over $100,000 a year. And as you get to those senior roles, you're pushing towards $200,000 and even higher. It's a direct reflection of just how vital this work is for any modern business.
All right, let's tackle a really common point of confusion. We hear all these data titles thrown around all the time. Let's draw some really clear lines between the big three.
Okay, the core difference really comes down to focus. The data engineer builds the infrastructure. They're the builders, the architects. The data scientist and the analyst, they're the ones using that infrastructure. A scientist might use the data to build a totally new machine learning model, while an analyst uses it to build a dashboard that answers a really important business question. They all work with data, but they're playing very different positions on the field. So, after hearing all this, how do you know if this path might actually be for you? Well, just ask yourself a few questions. Do you get more of a kick out of building a rock-solid, scalable system than you do from tweaking a model's accuracy by 0.5%? Do you love the puzzle of making things fast and reliable? And do you enjoy that sweet spot right where software engineering meets the world of data? If you're nodding your head, you might just be a data engineer at heart.
So, I'll just leave you with this question. Do you want to be the one who builds the superhighways that power the entire AI revolution? Because let me tell you, the world needs more architects, more builders, and more of these unsung heroes. It is a challenging, it is a rewarding, and it is an absolutely essential role for our data-driven future.